What up? This is Rama Screen, and in the celebration of Brazilian new series Dom, which is available on Amazon Prime Video, I'm here talking with the showrunner director of this new show, Breno Silveira. How are you, Breno?
It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Good. Thank you for taking the time. So I read that initially you wanted to make this into a movie, but then realized that the story was too nuanced for just 90 minutes. So how did you flesh out and expand the Victor and Pedro story into these 8 episodes? What did you add in? What did you had to leave out?
Well, this is actually the opposite, I would say, because when we want to expand the stories, we actually in a show we have to expand the stories, but the story of Pedro and Victor is so rich, so full of aspects and details that it's actually the opposite. I'm not sure how to make it fit into a show, I thought in the beginning. And it wouldn't be a good fiction, a good movie. I noticed that now because just a show really with episodes will allow you to show the nuances and to tell people about the characters little by little. You see, in the beginning, it's hard to like them. You see that they're, I don't know, one is a criminal, the other is a failed cop, but then gradually you peel off those layers and then you see their childhood, you start to connect the dots, and the audience starts to know more about the characters. I usually say that what I really like about this is not the stories, but the characters. I think in Dom, we have two very strong characters, amazing characters, and it's a good thing it's a show, not a movie.
I read that the last day of shooting for this show happened during the early days of COVID lockdown in Brazil. How challenging was that for you guys to shoot Dom in that setting, in that environment? Did that kind of throw the production off of balance a little bit?
Well, actually, what happened was that Rio de Janeiro simply we didn't really know what was going to happen with the disease. The pandemic wasn't official, I would say. The first few cases happened during Carnival, and we didn't really know what was going to happen. So we ended filming on March 20th last year. So I really didn't know much about the pandemic. When we were filming at the tunnel, that night, somebody came and said, "Oh, there's going to be a confinement, a lockdown, or something." And we said, "What? What's happening?" "Yeah, it seems like it's a huge wave," somebody said. And we said, "Oh, it's going to be over soon." And we've been in this for over a year now. So for filming, it didn't really impact filming, but it was more difficult for edition because I couldn't be there with the editors, in the same place. It was difficult to talk to the musicians. So it was all really online over the internet. We couldn't meet. And I think what happened was simply that it took longer, for the edition because we had to send everything to the 4 or 5 editors, send it to their home. So everyone was affected by the pandemic and everyone was scared as well. So I remember that the dialogues, it is a difficult, very heavy story. And some editors had this kind of a crisis, emotional crisis, and I couldn't be around to help them. Anyway, but still, it might have been positive because it took longer to finalize, to edit, and people concentrated more in that work. The bad thing was distance, of course, because I think it would be nice to be all together doing that. But anyway, people might have been more sensitive doing that material. And at times like these, we feel more sensitive, I think. It is just natural that that happens. So
Filmmakers like Jose Padilla and Fernando Mireles have painted a picture that a lot of us audiences outside Brazil have now about Brazil. This picture of grim, gritty crime drama, and Dom more or less exists within those visuals or that same tone. What do you think that conveys? Is there a subtext or a theme about the society of Brazil that that particular portrait or that particular depiction want to say to the rest of the world?
well, first of all, I am very proud that you mentioned those directors who are great friends and my idols, really, I must say. It is amazing what Cidade de Deus did. And way before Fernando started filming, I read the book, and Padilla, I saw his documentaries even before fiction. He started working with fiction. So these are two people who really showed in a magnificent way what happens in our society. And Dom is here to show yet another layer of all that. We start to understand a little bit of the society and all that. What I think is a little bit different in Dom from those others is that we also bring this humane idea of drama, family drama, that might not be that common in some other productions. But Dom is here to explain that confusion that we have, not just because it is a polarized society with so many differences, like the poor, the rich, that conflict, that difference. We have the mountains, we have the sea, we have the rich, we have the poor, we have the favelas, we have the rich bourgeoisie, really. We have around 3 kilometers, and we have all that in that small bubble, I would say. So it's so many differences, and also the landscape, beautiful landscape in Rio de Janeiro, natural scenarios. It is a unique city, really. So I think that Dom shows the changes, the transition in that society. What I think is interesting as well for me is that we're trying to show how we got where we are right now, why the situation is what it is right now. After Cidade de Deus, how that started, in a way with the police, with corruption. We have the elite squad as well by Padilla. So Victor is a person who I actually personally met 12 years ago, and he told me I saw the transition. I saw the first load of cocaine getting to a favela. I saw back in the 70s when that drug started, when that arrived in the favelas. And then he saw the transition in Rio de Janeiro, how the whole transformation happened. When Victor got to the favelas back in the 70s, it was the favela that had samba music. It was more idyllic. It was more of a place where they would only consume weed, maybe LSD. It was more peaceful, not that much violence. And then when he saw cocaine and how that transformed society, he was he could experience, he could witness the whole transformation. The money of drugs changed it all. There was a lot of corruption with the police as well. Those leaders, drug dealers, they started to have a lot of power. So Padilla shows that a little bit. Cidade de Deus also shows that. And Dom is showing yet another aspect of all that. So it was something that I wanted to show as well. How did it all start?
All right. Thank you for sharing that, sir. And it's a wonderful, wonderful show. I loved it. And so, for my fans at home, everybody go check out Dom, which is available on Amazon Prime Video. Breno, thank you for talking to me and congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure.